Live from WRAL News headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
And here it comes. The Arctic blast is in progress right now. The coldest air arrives overnight tonight, and our wind chill will be way into the 20s. Even a few flurries are possible. I'll walk you through it.
Also coming up, travel headaches as lawmakers make progress in ending the government shutdown. Airports all across the country have thousands of cancellations and delays. How much longer this may last?
And suspect in the hospital, the man accused of killing a WakeMed police officer, is recovering from his injuries this morning. What we know about the struggle and the questions still remaining. We have that story and so much more to get you caught up on your Monday morning. Welcome in. Thanks for joining us. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
And I'm Ken Smith, not the least of which the possible end of that government shutdown.
Yes,
looking forward to
big news.
Getting into that a little bit more. But that Arctic blast we're expecting, let's get over to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner tracking it all for us.
Freeze warning goes into effect overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning. So this time tomorrow, this is what it will feel like. 29 in Raleigh, 25 in Sanford, 27 Goldsboro, 26 in Roxborough. Everywhere will be cold with mid-20s to near 30 degrees. Also, overnight, there could be a brief batch of flurries that roll through. Not expecting any accumulation, minus maybe a little bit of dusting on some elevated surfaces. Here's a look at Pittsburgh this morning. Looking beautiful, nice and sunny, but it will be breezy. Not seeing the trees moving around too much here in Pittsburgh, but our wind is out of the northwest at 9, and we're seeing gusts in some places up to around 20 miles per hour. 43 is the official temperature in the Triangle, but it's 39 in Roxborough, 47 in Clinton. So it's a much colder start this morning than yesterday, anywhere from 15 to 25 degrees colder. We'll see just as large a drop for tomorrow morning as will be in the 20s. We will see milder temperatures, of course, coming up, but in the meantime, 51 degrees for the high today, and of course, tomorrow stays chilly as well. Ken?
What's happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center? Things are beginning to pick up on I-40 eastbound coming in from Durham this morning. Those are the eastbound lanes coming into Raleigh and Wake County, moving away from us this morning. So right now, you're looking at an 8-minute delay between I-85 and Raleigh. The other troubled spot this morning coming in from Wake Forest, you're looking at a 12-minute delay. And things have definitely eased up a lot on I-87. You're just looking at a 3-minute delay. That's southern loop of the Beltline, the usual morning congestion. We're seeing those westbound lanes moving away from us this morning. Here's what you're looking at. You're looking at a 7-minute delay on that southern loop of the Beltline. Now, if you're coming in from Garner, Johnson County, before you get to that southern loop of the Beltline, you're looking at no delays whatsoever between Highway 36 and the Beltline this morning. So that's somewhat good news as you come in. We do want to check a couple of secondary routes that tend to get really jammed up this time of the morning. And we're seeing that on Lewisburg Road. You're coming in from Roseville. You're looking at an 18-minute delay. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Thanks, Ken. A live look at Capitol Hill this morning as the federal government is one step closer to reopening. Last night, the U.S. Senate advanced a bipartisan agreement to fund the government through January. Republicans reached the 60-vote threshold needed to pass the bill after 8 Democrats voted with them on the measure. The agreement now heads to the House for passage and then needs to get President Trump's signature to become law and reopen the government. The process is expected to take a few days. And as lawmakers try to end the shutdown, airports have been hit by a reduction in flights, causing thousands of delays and cancellations all across the country. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey live at RDU for us this morning. And Kelsey, travelers at the airport have been dealing with problems all weekend long.
Michelle, and those issues are continuing into this morning. We're now up to 23 delays and 22 cancellations here at RDU, according to FlightAware. You can see some of those delays and cancellations indicated there on the flight board, but all of this new information within the last 30 minutes. So we'll show you some video now so you can see people walking in the long lines earlier this morning to check in for United Airlines flights. RDU is one of dozens of airports nationwide impacted by the air traffic control shortage spurred on by the shutdown. FAA mandated flight cancellations are expected to ramp up to 6% by tomorrow. But last night's tentative agreement to end the shutdown may offer some relief. Zoe Scott says her flight was canceled less than an hour before she was scheduled to board this morning.
I need someone to solve this problem for me because I can't get to where I'm going to today, and the flight that I'm going to take, like the person who's going to pick me up, like that's not going to work out now. So what do you expect?
And Zoe even told us that she may even be willing to drive 8 hours in order to get to her destination on time. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says that these disruptions could continue even if the shutdown ends soon, especially during the Thanksgiving holiday. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live at RDU.
Zoe sounds like she is going through it, and not just her, right? We're talking about thousands of people, or rather delays that we're tracking here from FlightAware. Now, the top number, 10,896, that's kind of as a whole as it tracks flights around the world. But in terms of specifically into, within, or out of the United States, 1,568. Also happen to look up Charlotte Douglas International Airport there. We're looking at about 26 delays and looks like 49 cancellations. Lastly, let me leave you with the misery map here. I'll go ahead and hit refresh just to see if these numbers update just a skosh. Looks like 393 cancellations and 349 delays being tracked at some of the major airports across the country. And no surprise there, the Midwest, where we've been talking about that stow, right? But then also the Northeast, where you see in New York, D.C., and Boston as well.
So we've been talking about the possible agreement to end the shutdown, but we should note it will not extend the expiring Affordable Care Act subsidies. That was one of the primary negotiating points for Democrats, but the U.S. Senate has agreed to vote on the subsidies by the end of the second week of December. There's no guarantee that bill would pass, though, and that's why some are against this deal.
So this agreement tonight is a win for the American people. And it's a win for those people that are so insistent that I'm hearing from all the time, protect our health care. Our judgment is the best way to do that is to get a bill on the floor.
As everybody here knows, that is a totally meaningless gesture. You can get 100 votes here in the Senate. Won't mean anything because the House is not going to take it up, and the President of the United States certainly will not sign it.
So here are some other key elements of this deal. It would fully fund SNAP through September of next year. It would also reverse President Trump's attempted layoffs of federal workers during the shutdown. Now, despite the deal to end the government shutdown, it will still be days before SNAP recipients receive their full benefits. And happening today, the Chicken Hut in Durham is providing free prepackaged meal boxes to SNAP recipients. They're giving away 400 boxes while supplies last, of course, starting around 11:30 this morning. All you will need is your SNAP card. Now, if you are wondering where to get your next meal due to the loss of benefits or some other issue, or you're in a position to donate to help your neighbors, we have a list of resources for you. It's all in one place at WRAL.com. Just search SNAP.
Right now, police are trying to find who is responsible for smashing windows and damaging several cars outside an apartment complex. Video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker shows multiple cars with shattered windows at the Pines of Ashton apartment complex on Halston Drive. Police say they got the first call about the break-ins at 3 a.m. So far, they do not have any suspects in custody. And at least one person is hurt after a fire this morning in Durham. The fire started around 3:30 on West Pilot Street near Otis Street. This is video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker. We're told the person who was hurt was taken to the hospital but is expected to be okay. The cause of the fire is under investigation.
Well, the suspect accused of shooting and killing a Wake Med campus police officer is in the hospital this morning. Benji Martin Jr. is accused of killing Officer Roger Smith at the Wake Med Garner Healthplex over the weekend, which is where we find WRAL's Ali Kadlabar this morning. And Ali, what can you tell us about that suspect?
Well, that suspect was also shot, but we still have several questions. We're still asking several questions about what happened in that emergency room lobby about 48 hours ago. But here's what we do know. Officer Roger Smith, he was shot and killed early Saturday morning at the Wake Med Garner Healthplex. That's where Smith was working, in the emergency department lobby. Around 9 a.m., Smith was involved in a struggle before getting shot. We've spoken to several loved ones and friends of Smith who say he was a dedicated officer.
Even though he had a very big stature, he didn't use that to try to intimidate people. He went the other way, being more humble and kind of just relaxed in manner.
And we saw an outpouring of similar comments on social media. A GoFundMe is also set up for his family, but this is still an active investigation. We are asking Garner police what led up to the shooting. Also, what was the struggle about and whose gun was involved in this shooting? We are working to learn those answers. We're going to keep you updated. Reporting live in Garner, Ali Kadlabar, WRAL News.
New this morning, President Trump is issuing pardons to Rudy Giuliani and others who were involved in efforts to overturn the 2020 election. A Justice Department spokesperson says Trump has given them full, complete, and unconditional pardons from federal charges. That also includes his former chief of staff, former North Carolina Congressman Mark Meadows. Presidential pardons only apply to federal charges, not state or local charges. And the pardon also explicitly states that it does not apply to Trump himself.
Los Angeles Chargers picking up a win on Sunday Night Football. The Chargers took on Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers in L.A. Rodgers struggled. He threw 2 interceptions. Chargers won that game 25-10. Now, L.A. now looks ahead to a matchup against the Jacksonville Jaguars next week on the road. The Carolina Panthers, meantime, looking to move on from a tough loss at home. Running back Rico Dowdle found the end zone in the first quarter against the New Orleans Saints. That turned out to be the only points Carolina got in that game. They lost to the Saints 17-7. The Panthers will head down to Atlanta next week to take on the Falcons. Kickoff for that game is at 1 p.m. and you can see all the action right here on Fox 15.
And more football action tonight on ESPN, a battle of 2 first-place teams. The Green Bay Packers are hosting the Philadelphia Eagles at Lambeau Field. Kickoff for that game is set for 8:15 tonight.
Top now, 8:11, political showdown. How a North Carolina sheriff is trying to topple one of North Carolina's most powerful Republicans.
Plus 50-year mortgage. President Donald Trump says his administration is working on a plan aimed at helping home buyers. What hurdles are prompting the struggle to own a home?
And the deep freeze is headed our way. It will drop into the upper 20s overnight, and a weak disturbance swings by, bringing a few flurries for parts of the viewing area. I'll show you if you'll be affected. 8:14. Last night's cold front has moved well offshore, and that has opened the door to a strong flow coming out of the northwest, bringing very cold air, the coldest of the season. But there's also a disturbance associated with it. A lot of the Midwest seeing snow, and of course the mountains of North Carolina as well. We're going to see that swinging into our area, but it dries out a lot. It doesn't dry out completely, though. We could see a few flurries overnight, and I'll walk you through Futurecast in just a few minutes. It's chilly out there this morning. 43 in Durham, 43 in Raleigh, 47 in Fayetteville. But in some places, temperatures will be 20 degrees colder for tomorrow morning. Temperatures in the upper 40s up through lunchtime, around 50 for the high this afternoon. Tomorrow stays really chilly, and then I'll show you how quickly the warmth returns coming up. Ken?
All right, Elizabeth, we continue to see some congestion building on I-40 eastbound coming in from Durham this morning. Those are the look of the eastbound lanes heading into the Raleigh-Ray County area. So if you're getting ready to head out the door, particularly if you're coming in from Durham this morning, here's basically what you're looking at. You're looking at a 6-minute delay. The other troubled spot really is coming in from Wake Forest this morning. You're looking at an 8-minute delay if you're coming in on US 1. We're seeing a little bit of a congestion right now on those eastbound lanes there in Cary on I-440. You'll keep an eye on that, let you know how it's going to continue to affect your morning commute.
All right, thank you, Ken. One of the state's most accomplished Republican lawmakers faces a primary challenger. This is someone who could change up the power dynamics here in North Carolina. Senate Leader Phil Berger has held his seat for 25 years. His challenger is Sam Page. He served as Rockingham County Sheriff for just as long. Page says that Berger lost touch with the needs of the Senate district. Berger says Page's troubles with the Rockingham County Jail show he's not fit to take his seat. One political analyst called it a grassroots slugfest. All of the details of this race are in the NC Capitol section of WRAL.com. Well, President Trump says his administration is working on creating a 50-year mortgage in order to help home buyers. This new move also comes as concerns over affordability are rising. Data shows recent Google searches for the phrase mortgage help are at their highest since 2009. Mortgage rates are still high. The median household is still spending almost 40% of monthly incomes on homes. 30-year rates became the standard under the FDR administration during Depression recovery.
A nasty storm moved through parts of our area this weekend, leaving behind hail and lightning damage. These are images of hail sent in to us via our reported section of WRAL.com. Well, meteorologist Chris Michaels showing us how this lone storm defied November norms in today's Ask the Meteorologist. Hey, Chris.
Hey there, Ken. Yeah, so this was a storm that traveled from Sanford into Johnston County, and it did kind of defy the expectation of November, but the weather this weekend was also unseasonably warm, unseasonably humid. It had a little storm system develop east of the mountains, and it allowed all that warmth and humidity to rise up into a very cold part of the atmosphere. Now, this storm was 30,000 feet tall. In the summer, you get storms that grow to like 50,000 feet. However, this time of year, that cold layer is closer to the ground. So at 30,000 feet, temperatures were at about -4 degrees. So it was all that cold air, that hail that was loading into the storm, and it's got nowhere to go but down. So it's a downburst that really flattens out at the surface. So it wasn't a tornado, even though it felt like it and looked like it from the damage. Instead, it was this downburst, and we could tell that by looking at radars. You see the green being the raindrops going toward the radar, and the red, all the raindrops going away, kind of diverged there at the surface. But a lot of folks in McGee's Crossroads also said the storm sounded very loud. We're talking about why that's especially the case at night in today's edition of Ask the Meteorologist. That's on WRAL.com right now.
All right, thank you, Chris. The town of Knightdale is honoring veterans ahead of Veterans Day tomorrow. People in the community gathered yesterday to honor the men and women of our military. Knightdale teamed up with the Two Green Thumbs Garden Club for the 2025 tribute. It happened at the Knightdale Veterans Memorial at Knightdale Station Park.
I spent 27 years in the military, so not only was it hard on me, but I loved the dedication and the work that we did, but it was so hard on the families because we're separated.
I've got lots of family here family from my unit who came out and supported us, and it's been really nice having everybody out.
The ninth fold. And of course, Veterans Day is tomorrow.
On happening today, Apex Police encouraging people to donate blood for an important cause. The department is hosting a blood drive this afternoon that will help benefit the Special Olympics North Carolina. Every donor will receive a $30 e-card, plus a $10 donation will also be made on behalf of Special Olympics. That blood drive will be at the Apex Police Department from noon until 5 this evening.
Oh boy, look at South Bend, Indiana right now. I'm in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with Elizabeth. I'm jealous. I don't think you are. Are you? Do you like the snow? But not too much of it. What?
Okay, can I get a what from the studio? It's not April Fool's Day. No, of course you know I love snow.
Yes,
I love it.
yes.
I talk about it all the time.
You don't like the cold. You don't like the cold.
You know, I don't like to be cold, and honestly, if it's not going to snow, I'd rather it just be like it was yesterday, 75 degrees. It was such a gorgeous weekend. But look at this. In South Bend, Indiana, they've had a lot of lake effect snow coming through. We've had, of course, the chilly air that's coming across those warm lakes, and that's dumping snow everywhere across the Great Lakes and to the south of that. So yeah, that's the first big snow of the season there. Of course, we're just looking bright and beautiful right now, but not as warm as it was yesterday, that's for sure. Thanks to our cold front that moved through last night, that's opened the door to the cold air coming in, and you can see all across parts of the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, up around Chicago, Indiana, that snow continues to fall. It's falling in West Virginia, and it's falling in Boone as well. We're going to take a look at the Boone camera coming up in just a little while. But we could even see some of that snow wrapping around and moving into our area overnight tonight. It'll just be a few flurries. It's been so warm that we're not going to see any of it accumulating. But here's midnight, and from Raleigh northward towards South Hill and Roxborough, Southern Pines, you might see a few flurries. And then around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, it's in the eastern counties, and then it's gone, and we'll have nice bright skies for Tuesday morning. Mountain snow through tomorrow, they'll continue to see a few more rounds, as much as 3 to 6 inches in some of the highest elevations, and the ski resorts will love that. They're blowing snow already, trying to see if they can get an early start to the season. In Boone, it is 23 degrees right now, but that doesn't matter. It's still been so warm that nothing is sticking to the streets. Again, elevated surfaces are seeing a little bit of a light dusting, but they've had snow for a while, and they're not getting much to stick there. This is a look at Beach Mountain where they are blowing snow. Good coverage there. Temperatures a little colder up at the top of the mountain. For us tomorrow morning, 26 in Roxborough and in Roanoke Rapids, 29 Benson and in Fayetteville. Temperatures will be cold, so we do have that freeze warning that's in effect. It's also going to be breezy today and tomorrow, so the wind chill is going to be bitter tomorrow morning. When folks are headed out the door to work and school, it'll feel like low to mid 20s. So just be ready for that. And tomorrow's high 48 degrees. After that, we're seeing highs back in the 60s, Ken.
Now we're continuing to see those that congestion on I-40 eastbound coming into Raleigh and Wake County this morning. Those are the eastbound lanes moving away from us this morning. So if you're coming in from Durham on I-40 eastbound, you're looking at an 8-minute delay. We're also seeing an 8-minute delay for our friends in Wake Forest coming in on US 1. We're keeping an eye on that southwestern loop of the Beltline when you're looking around the Cary area, seeing a little bit of slowdown in those eastbound lanes. Keep an eye on it for you. I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road, this is a southern loop of the Beltline this morning. It's beginning to ease up just a little bit on that southern loop. You're looking at just a 4-minute delay. But if you're coming in from Garner, Johnston County, we're not seeing any delays whatsoever between Highway 36 and the Beltline. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Thanks, Ken. Open enrollment scams. Criminals are looking to take advantage of the opportunity to steal your information. 5 on Your Side has the important signs you need to look for before signing up. And ending free filing. A government program is shutting down months before tax season. Why the Trump administration says it's looking for an alternative.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning. Happy Monday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. We are off to a chilly start for our Monday, but it's only going to get colder. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner standing by with a live look over Apex.
It definitely looks beautiful as we take a look down Salem Street, but I've seen a few people out walking around, out with their dogs, and they're definitely bundled up out there this morning. What a change from the gorgeous weekend that we saw. Right now, temperatures are mostly in the low to mid 40s. A couple of exceptions. Goldsboro's checking in at 50 right now, but the cold air is coming in out of the north and west. It's still fine for exercise. I mean, 40s is not bad. Temperature climbs up to around 50 this afternoon. But tomorrow morning, the wind chill will be way down in the low 20s. I'll walk you through it hour by hour coming up in just a bit. Ken?
Elizabeth, we're keeping an eye on the heavy congestion that we're seeing on I-40 eastbound coming in from Durham. Those are the eastbound lanes moving away from us this morning. So if you're getting ready to head out the door, you're coming in on I-40 eastbound from Durham, you're looking at an 8-minute delay. Similarly, if you're coming in from Wake Forest, you're looking at an 8-minute delay as well. Things have really gotten a lot better on I-87. No delays to report whatsoever. And of course, if you're coming in from Garner, Johnston County this morning, no delays between Highway 36 and the Beltline.
Across the country dealing with flight cancellations and delays. More flights are canceled today, including more than 20 at RDU. The government shutdown impacted thousands of flights over the weekend. And Raleigh police are trying to find who's responsible for smashing windows and damaging several cars outside an apartment complex. This happened at the Pines of Ashton apartment complex on Holston Drive at around 3 o'clock this morning. So far, they do not have any suspects in custody. Next on Fox 50, the man accused of killing a Wake Med police officer is in the hospital. And coming up on Today, Keir Simmons has an in-depth look inside Noah's Ark.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Here it comes. It is in progress. That colder air starting to push into North Carolina. I'll let you know when it will feel like 20s, and especially with the wind chill tomorrow morning.
And a possible end in sight. A tentative deal to end the government shutdown has been reached. What's included in the bipartisan plan headed to the House and how it will affect your holiday travel plans.
And shooting struggle. A Wake Med police officer shot and killed while on the job in Garner. But we're learning about the suspect still in the hospital this morning. Lots to share with you here at 8:30. We're so glad you're with us. I'm Ken Smith.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. Yeah, boy, it's a chilly start to our Monday after a gorgeous weekend. It was like springtime yesterday. It was
loved it.
amazing. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a freeze warning beginning tonight.
It really is going to be just a tough transition for sure. Our freeze warning goes into effect tonight and lasts through 9 a.m. tomorrow. Temperatures will likely drop on into the 20s. Tomorrow morning, 25 in Sanford, 27 in Goldsboro, 26 in Roxboro, 29 in Fayetteville, all across the viewing area. Temperatures will drop down below freezing. That'll put an end to the growing season. Also overnight, we'll have a disturbance that swings through. Could bring us a few snow flurries overnight, but wouldn't expect any accumulation except maybe on some elevated surfaces. It's beautiful out there right now. This is a live look at Pittsburgh with lots of sunshine. The wind is starting to pick up, though. Wind out of the northwest right now at 9 miles per hour, already gusting 20 to 25 in some places. And it's a cool 43 degrees. 43 in Roxboro, 48 in Clinton, 46 in Rocky Mount. We will see, of course, cold temperatures continuing for the next couple of days. Right now, it's 15 to 20 degrees colder than this time yesterday. We'll see a high of 50 this afternoon, 51 degrees, and then we'll see a chilly, of course, day for Veterans Day, and then a warm up. I'll show you that coming up, Ken.
Elizabeth, we're seeing on top of that slowdown that we're seeing on I-40 eastbound this morning. Those are the eastbound lanes on I-40 coming in from Durham this morning. So if you're getting ready to head out, here's what you're looking at. It's actually getting a lot better. It's now just down to 4 minutes. It was up to 8 minutes a little bit ago. So things are definitely moving. You're looking at an 8-minute delay if you're coming in from Wake Forest this morning on US 1. And look at that southern loop of the Beltline, I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road this time of the morning. No congestion to report. That's really good news. Just about a 3-minute delay if you're coming in on that southern loop of the Beltline. Now, if you're coming in from Garner, Johnston County, no delays whatsoever between Highway 36 and I-40 this morning. So that's really good news, especially if you're getting ready to head out. Things are getting a lot better on these secondary roads that are really can be major headaches in the mornings, particularly if you're coming in from Roseville on Lewisburg Road. You're just looking at a 9-minute delay. A little while ago, that was up to double digits. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Thanks, Ken. The longest government shutdown in U.S. history may be approaching its end. You are looking live at the U.S. Capitol. That's where, after 42 days, a tentative deal to end the shutdown has been reached. The Senate voted last night to advance a stopgap funding bill, and senators are set to work on amendments on that deal today. And this morning, the effects of the shutdown are being felt at RDU, Ken.
Yeah, this is a live look at the airport, of course. We want to tell you exactly what's happening out there. Hundreds of delays and cancellations this weekend left travelers frustrated. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey live at the airport this morning. Kelsey, we're watching those delays and cancellations really build up.
Yes, Ken, just within the last 5 minutes, we checked FlightAware, and there are 24 delays and 25 cancellations so far this morning at RDU. You may be able to see some of those reflected here on the flight board at Terminal 2. We'll also show you some video now from a little bit earlier this morning of people waiting in long lines to check in. RDU is just one of dozens of airports nationwide impacted by the air traffic control shortage that, of course, was spurred on by the government shutdown. FAA mandated flight cancellations are expected to ramp up to 6% by tomorrow. But last night's tentative agreement to end the government shutdown may offer some relief. Zoe Scott says her flight was canceled less than an hour before she was scheduled to board this morning.
If I can't figure things out here, I would drive. It's 8 hours, and so I have daylight coming. We'll be okay if I needed to drive, but I feel so bad for the people who really have to get somewhere and they don't have the option to drive.
And there are so many similar stories that we're hearing from folks at RDU. Just yesterday, we spoke with someone who said that they were willing to drive 17 hours back home to Houston because he was not able to get a flight. So Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says that even if the shutdown ends soon, we still may be seeing these disruptions at airports, especially during the busy Thanksgiving holiday. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live at RDU.
Yeah, you really got to think about what Zoe was talking about, right? Not everyone has that luxury of, I'll just hop into a car. Well, what if you live in Phoenix, Arizona? Not necessarily an option. In terms of delays and cancellations, I do have the FlightAware page up here right now. I have seen the total delays go up by about a few hundred, but we want to talk specifically about the delays within, into, or out of the U.S. Same for cancellations. Looking like more than 1,400 on the delays, more than 1,500 on the cancellations. Taking a look here to see how things are appearing over at Charlotte Douglas International Airport. Airport. Let me hit that refresh. Okay, so we got a couple more delays there, a couple more cancellations. Not too bad for the most part. Now we want to look at the misery map as a whole. Obviously, this isn't every single airport in the United States, but some of the major ones here. Again, we're seeing a lot of delays in the Northeast. No surprise there, but also in the Midwest. You see that ORD up in Chicago? It looks like more than half of those are dealing with some cancellations and or delays there. So certainly something to keep in mind if you've got your phone and the apps downloaded for whatever air carrier you're going with. Turn those notifications on because they'll let you know whether you're dealing with a delay or a cancellation.
Yeah, that's a smart move. Thanks, Chris. Well, the bill to end the shutdown is a compromise between centrist Democrats and Republicans. Many Democrats opposed it because it does not extend expiring Obamacare subsidies. Republicans agreed to a vote on the subsidies by early next month.
We must fight because a senior citizen cannot afford to pay $25,000 a year just for health insurance. We must fight to keep millions from financial ruin.
We have senators, both Democrat and Republican, who are eager to get to work to address that crisis in a bipartisan way.
And the deal would fully fund SNAP, once known as food stamps, through September of next year. It would also reverse President Trump's attempted layoffs of federal workers during the shutdown. The agreement now heads to the House. It then needs to get President Trump's signature to become law and reopen the government.
Well, Michelle, even with this stopgap bill headed to the U.S. House, it will still take days before SNAP recipients receive their full benefits. As of now, those full payments cannot be made until the shutdown ends. Now, if the deal passes, it will fund SNAP and WIC benefits through September of next year. Now, if you need help or want to help your neighbors, we have a list of resources for you on WRAL.com. Just search SNAP.
And download the WRAL News app. Turn on push notifications so you can get the latest updates sent right to your phone. Well, right now, police are trying to find who's responsible for smashing windows and damaging several cars outside of an apartment complex. Video from the WRAL breaking news tracker shows multiple cars with shattered windows at the Pines of Ashton apartment complex off Holston Drive. Police say they got the first call about the break-ins at 3 a.m. So far, they do not have any suspects in custody.
More breaking news now. At least one person is hurt after a fire this morning in Durham. The fire started around 3:30 this morning on West Pilot Street near Otis Street. This is video from the WRAL breaking news tracker. We're told the person who was hurt was taken to Durham Area Hospital, but is expected to be okay. Now, the cause of that fire remains under investigation.
Now, this morning, we are asking questions about what led up to a shooting that killed a WakeMed police officer, Roger Smith. The suspected shooter, Benji Martin Jr., is in the hospital this morning. And WRAL's Ali Calabar is at WakeMed Garner Healthplex this morning. Ali, Garner police say he was also injured in that struggle.
Michelle, Benji Martin Jr., the suspected shooter, was also shot. He's in the hospital in custody, but we're still trying to figure out what happened in that emergency room lobby about 48 hours ago. We still have a lot of questions. Here's a picture of Officer Roger Smith. He was shot and killed early Saturday morning at the WakeMed Garner Healthplex. WakeMed told us Smith was working in the emergency department lobby. Around 9 a.m., he was involved in a struggle before Benji Martin Jr. is accused of shooting Smith. We've spoken to several loved ones and friends of Smith who say he was a dedicated officer.
He epitomizes what it means to be a law enforcement officer. He wasn't one of these guys out here that was hard, fast, and want to get in a fight or write tickets, and he just wanted to do a job and make the community safer.
Garner police say this is still an active investigation. We're asking them what led up to this shooting. What was the struggle involving, and whose gun was involved in this shooting? Reporting live in Garner, Ali Calabar, WRAL News.
The director of the State Bureau of Investigation issued a statement on that shooting. He said in part, "I want to acknowledge that Officer Smith is a true hero. Had it not been for his heroic efforts, there could have been many more citizens injured or killed."
Well, this morning we're working to learn whether teacher call-outs will affect learning in Wake County schools today. On Friday, schools prepared for mass teacher absences. That's because of a call on social media to protest budget issues and increased healthcare costs. The call urged teachers to call out Friday and today. The Wake County Public School System told us Friday's call-outs did not impact operations in any way.
Open enrollment scams. Scammers are taking advantage of the opportunity to steal your information. 5 on Your Side has the important signs you need to look for before signing up.
Also, a tense situation. Someone shot at federal agents in Chicago, where DHS stands in the search for the people responsible.
And a shift in temperatures. It is chilly now as you look live in Durham, but a freeze warning will be in effect this time tomorrow. Just ahead, meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner shares who will dip down into the 20s.
.44, our next weather maker is this band of snow that's rotating through, especially back to the west. The mountains are seeing some snow. The cold front slipped by overnight last night, and that's opened the door to cold air. But there is this disturbance that's moving through some of that colder air, and we could see a few flurries overnight tonight. We're going to talk more about that in just a little bit. I'll walk you through that on Futurecast, and we'll check the hour-by-hour potential. Right now, it's 43 in Durham and Raleigh, 47 in Fayetteville. Not too far from normal for a morning this time of year, but the problem is we're going to see a huge drop overnight tonight. Much cooler than what we saw yesterday. We'll see a high of 50. Yesterday's high was 77. We'll also have a wind chill to deal with as well, and so it will feel bitter for us tomorrow morning. I'll show you what it will feel like where you are. Coming up, Ken.
Elizabeth, happening now. You know, I've been mentioning the slowdown that we were seeing on that southwestern section of the Beltline. Is right around Western Boulevard. You're probably looking at a 3 to 5 minute delay if that's part of your morning commute. If this is part of your morning commute, I-40 eastbound coming in from Durham, those are the eastbound lanes moving away from us this morning. It's been a real jammed up I-40 eastbound for the last couple of hours, but things are beginning to move. You're just looking at a 2 minute delay. Things are also getting better if you're coming in from Wake Forest and US 1, just a 6 minute delay at this hour.
Thank you, Ken. It's open enrollment season, and scammers are taking advantage of the opportunity to steal your information. 5 on Your Side's Ashley Rowe shares what you need to know before signing up.
It's the peak of open enrollment season, and scammers see it as a great opportunity to steal your information. They'll ask you to verify personal information. Specifically, they'll contact you by phone or text and ask for your medical card number and social security number. They'll tell you they'll enroll you in a better, often cheaper plan. Asking for personal information is a huge red flag. Never give anyone your government-issued numbers, and don't trust anyone who contacts you offering cheaper coverage. If you want to make changes to your health care plan, go through the official website or contact your employer. As we always say, if a deal sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Ashley Rowe, 5 on Your Side.
Security says someone fired shots at federal agents in Chicago. The agency says a man driving a black Jeep fired at agents. That happened as they were conducting immigration enforcement operations. There are no reports of anyone being shot, though. The shooter hasn't been found. Homeland Security says other people were also throwing bricks and other items at Border Patrol vehicles.
A government tax filing program is coming to an end months before tax season. The IRS says it's stopping direct file. The free program started during the Biden administration. The Trump administration is exploring other ways for taxpayers to file for free through private companies. The Treasury Department says fewer than 300,000 people used direct file. The IRS spent at least $41 million on it this year.
The company By Heart is removing its organic baby formula from stores. That's because of reported cases of botulism. It's rare, but you can catch that from eating food contaminated with the toxin that causes it. The FDA says By Heart's powdered formula was linked to an outbreak in 10 states. The agency also says if you fed your child that brand of formula, keep an eye on them. It can take weeks to develop. Botulism can be fatal, but at last check, no deaths were reported.
Celebrating rock and roll legends.
Yeah, and a special day for special Muppets. Here's a look at what's trending this morning. Some of your favorite rock stars are now members of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This weekend, the hall held its 40th annual induction ceremony in Los Angeles. Among the honorees included Cyndi Lauper, Outkast, Chubby Chase, Soundgarden, The White Stripe, and Salt and Pepper. Quite a list of our favorite rock stars.
Yeah, we can't forget Elton John, Missy Elliott, Brandi Carlile, and Beck. They also performed during the ceremony.
That's always a fun show to watch whenever it airs.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good deal.
Okay, well, the beloved TV show Sesame Street is celebrating its 56th birthday. The public television show made its debut in 1969, drawing around 80 million viewers. Former documentary producer Joan Cooney and Muppets creator Jim Henson worked together to create the iconic cast, including Elmo, Big Bird, Cookie Monster, and Bert and Ernie. Big Bird, always my favorite.
Yeah, Cookie Monster, of course, is a favorite in our household.
In your household, yeah, Frankie loves Cookie Monster.
Loves Cookie Monster, and that's all he wants to be for Halloween.
Aww.
It's Cookie Monster.
Let
the last
him,
2 years.
For as long as he wants to be Cookie
We're just going to buy a bigger size next year. Shoppers are expected to spend record amounts this holiday season. The National Retail Federation projects spending to top $1 trillion for the first time. That's despite economic uncertainty and rising prices. Consumers are projected to spend an average of $897 on holiday gifts, food, and decor. Well, speaking of the holidays, the Holiday Express at Pullen Park is sold out, but for 5 lucky families, well, they can still hop aboard. Win a family 4-pack to the sold-out Holiday Express with lights, train rides, and holiday cheer. In and now at WRAL.com/contests. Watch WRAL Morning News at 6 a.m. every day next week to see if you're one of our lucky winners.
Here in the WRAL Live Center, I got to show you this video that came across our feeds. Now, I actually went to other websites just to verify this was not AI. This is what it looks like, a bridge in the Philippines. You see how it's kind of violently moving back and forth because of the winds there? That's what's happening because of the typhoon that's in place there. Feng Wong is the name of that typhoon. But you see this video and you see just how powerful it is. Obviously, thankful, from what I'm seeing here, no one near that bridge when it happens. But to see this, I don't know, the most we have to worry about here is things getting cold. Over there, they're dealing with stuff like this.
Yeah, that's some pretty wild video there, Chris. Thank you so much.
What was I thinking?
Here in the WRAL Severe Weather Center, I'm with Elizabeth, and the snow that the Midwest is experiencing in Chicago this video.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah, we go from tropical systems in the Philippines to the snow. First big snow for most of the Midwest. Again, this is a look at Chicago. We've had so much video from the Midwest. We're seeing lake effect snow. Of course, very cold air moving across those warm lakes is producing all this snow. And we'll see a little disturbance actually coming out of the Great Lakes to bring us a few flurries. And it's not going to look like that, of course, but we could see a flurry or two overnight tonight. Winds are going to be gusty for us, too. Let's take a look at our weather graphics, and you can see winds gusting 20 to 30 miles per hour for us. And again, that potential for some flurries and freezing temperatures, widespread freeze for us as we get into the afternoon. And let's take a look at our weather maker. We've got that cold front that's moved across our area, and that cold front, of course, bringing that chilly air into our region and looking at the coldest temperatures since March. It looks like we're having, there we go. I was going to say we're having a few issues with our weather computer, but there it is. 26 in Roxborough for tonight, 26 in Roanoke Rapids, 25 in Sanford, and 31 in Clinton. Freeze warning, of course, with those temperatures. This will be our first freeze of the year. And of course, freezing temperatures will put an end to the growing season. So this will be the last freeze warning or frost advisory you'll see, because we'll just expect to see more and more of those. Some snow falling overnight tonight, just in the form of flurries after 10 o'clock, lasting until maybe around 3 o'clock in the morning. Here's a look at that on Futurecast. We'll start things off at 5 o'clock with a good bit of sunshine and then clearing, then some cloud cover overnight. Look at that snow showing up there at midnight tonight and then swinging east at around 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning. Now, our high temperature yesterday was 77. It was in the 70s over the weekend. So this is not going to stick to the roads. There's just no way that's going to happen. But maybe a little dusting on higher elevation or some elevated surfaces. But again, just not looking at a whole lot of that. This is going to be the bigger deal that we'll see is this bitter wind chill. At 5 a.m., it'll feel like 21. At 8 a.m., feeling like 23. And that's going to be the big impact that we end up seeing. That wind, of course, creating that wind chill. And that wind is really whipping already. This is a live look at Zebulon. They're all ready for Veterans Day tomorrow. Look at all the flags there. But that really shows you the power of the wind already. We're seeing some gusts already up to around 20, 25 miles per hour. Wind is northwest at 9 and our temperature 43. Gusting to 23 in Fayetteville and 24 in Rocky Mount right now. And that will continue through the evening. Our temperatures currently are mostly in the low to mid 40s. You can see Cary at 44, Garner at 44. We'll see a chilly day tomorrow. After freezing temperatures, we only climb to 48 for Veterans Day. But quickly thereafter, our highs are back in the mid 60s.
All right, thanks, Elizabeth. And before we go to break, here are your winning lottery numbers. We'll get another check on weather and traffic next.